Welcome back to Fast Market here on the Schwab Network. It's time for cash tags. For that, let's bring in our next guest. It's going to be Andy Swan. He's a co-founder at LikeFolio. Welcome back to the show, Andy.
Thank you.
United Airlines, investors feeling pretty good right now. Stocks moved up over 50% so far this year, hitting multi-year highs. It seems like maybe it's lower oil prices. Maybe it's some of the competition came out and pre-announced that their revenue per average seat mile was starting to improve. But what kind of data are you guys seeing? Because, domestically, fares were starting to get hit a little bit in the midsummer. Is that starting to reverse where people are more positive on the airline industry at this point?
Yeah, it's a pretty mixed bag. When we think of the airline sector, it's always a tough sector to kind of handicap because there's so many inputs into the equation. You mentioned energy prices, how much that jet fuel costs. There's competitive ticket prices. What we try to look at is how much demand is there for each airline compared to each other. We kind of let the industry overall go the direction it's going to go. And we're trying to find the winners and the losers in the industry. And that has really shifted in terms of that horse race over the last few years. It used to be Southwest was the leader in terms of demand growth. Southwest was the leader in terms of overall consumer happiness, or at least right there with Delta. And now we're starting to see a big shift. And it's going a little bit towards United Airlines, believe it or not. This is one that was always pretty much in last place, but I think they've done a really good job on focusing on what they're pretty good at, and that is getting people to from point A to point B at a reasonable price with reasonable amenities. They're not going to blow your socks off, but they're doing a nice job overall of meeting expectations. We see that month over month, the change in consumer happiness among the airlines, United actually leading all of the airlines with a very, very significant move to the upside, which bodes really well for them going into the Thanksgiving and holiday travel season. So, overall, I think United's, it's in the spot where, I met this legendary stock commentator and trader named Kevin Hinks one time. And one of the phrases he would use is summer school valedictorian. And I think that's what we can use here when we talk about United Airlines. None of these are just absolutely blowing people away with unbelievable experiences, but United is definitely getting that most improved trophy at the moment, and that's a really good spot to be.
Hey, let's not bring my academic record into the show, Andy, please. I mean, come on. But, correct me if I'm wrong. We always loved Delta. We used to love Southwest a lot. United, yes. Remember during COVID when they put in a big plane order during COVID that kind of changed? Remember, we reported on it being a massive investment in
like
new planes during COVID. So coming out of COVID and with the recent hiccup from Delta, your data, Andy, kind of confirms what we've been seeing in the activities of these companies, which is United's kind of taken over here, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. And, it's some of the stats are pretty mind-blowing. Last quarter, United topped estimates, but they had company records that they set 44 million passengers in the quarter and a single-day record of over 500,000 travelers. So they've expanded the fleet, they've expanded the routes, and they're servicing people in what really matters to the customer, and that is, can you get me from point A to point B in a reasonable amount of time, somewhat on time, and at a reasonable cost? And United seems to be delivering on that. We've also seen a pretty significant boost in people talking about booking with United into the future because of their recent announcement that they're going to form an alliance with Starlink to provide better internet service mid-flight, which I think is a pretty big deal to people as well. So United seems to be investing where it really matters for the customer.
Yeah, and I think that's always been the problem on some of the laggards. United and Delta were taking advantage of business class travelers, overseas travel, that higher end seat that people were paying more for. But when you look at the year change in visits, I saw your chart here where it's all of them are decreasing on a 30-day moving average. Is that maybe reflective that this travel boom that we've seen where TSA numbers are at record levels and above 2019, is it going to end here, Andy? Because, you know, airfares aren't getting cheaper, and that's one of the sticking points for me. It's like there's never sales anymore. Yeah,
I think there's two sides to this coin. One is that the consumer is definitely feeling more of a pinch than they were a year ago. And so I think traffic to these airline websites is down a little bit. But I also think that the aggregators are doing a very good job of reestablishing themselves as the place to go. So, you know, the Booking.coms of the world, the Expedias may be taking a significant portion of that traffic away from the direct traffic to the airline sites, which may be reflected in there. But overall, we think that the airline sector is pretty healthy. The macro tailwind is pretty good. It just may be slowing down a little bit.
Earnings score here, Andy, with the stock up just this month, up nearly 13% and hitting those multi-year highs. Do you have an earnings score on this one? Because it just seems like the bar is really elevated.
The bar is really elevated. I think United, if any of the airlines is going to get over the bar, I think United is the one. So we have a positive earnings score. It was kind of a hold your nose, buy it, and hope that the momentum of the trade that's been happening over the last year continues. I think that's very possible. I would say neutral to positive is where we would put things for this earnings call.
Yeah, and remember, Delta reported last week, and even that shutdown of 7,000 flights due to the CrowdStrike issue didn't really negatively impact.
The stock dipped and then rallied.
Back. All right.
They want to buy these, and so you kind of just have to get out of the way and let the momentum of the trade take you until it doesn't work.
All right, great stuff.
You look pre-COVID. This was a $97 stock.
Yep.
So it's still down significantly off its highs.
Yep. All right, great stuff as always, Andy. Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
All right, that's Andy Swan, co-founder at LikeFolio, breaking down the data in United. Couple points.